Aviation lovers around the world, welcome to The Flight of Your Life. Captain Gab here. Subscribe to my channel, The Flight of Your Life, where you will get aviation information, education, advice, product reviews, flight simulation, photography and videography, and my pilot vlog. Thank you for watching, subscribe to The Flight of Your Life, and I look forward to seeing you guys very soon.
Yeah, come on. G'day everyone, I'm Ryan. G'day guys. Hello. Well, there you have it, another. Hopefully next video you see I'll be in the US.
Welcome back everybody. Thanks very much for tuning into The Flight of Your Life and taking the time to watch my video today. Today is a Q&A video. We're going to be answering, or I'm going to be answering, I should say, a question that was written in by a fan named Toby Williams. Toby Williams is a Year 12 student back in Australia who's got a bit of a dilemma. He's unsure about what path he's going to take in order to follow his dream, which is to fly commercial airlines around the world flying passengers. He has taken the time, as I said, to write in quite an extensive question, which I'm going to answer, but I'd love to take the time to actually read out the question in its entirety now. It might take about 5 minutes to get through here, but I'm sure you, the viewer, will get some good information about the kind of people that are watching my channel and the kind of questions that people are writing in for me to answer. Toby Williams writes, "Hey Gabriel, I'm currently in Year 12 and dream of becoming a commercial airline pilot. I know that starting young is ideal, so I'm trying to make a plan sooner rather than later. I have a couple of choices on the table. These consist of going through the ADF and becoming a fighter pilot. I would train up in SAIL in their base. I would study at ADFA with the intent of becoming an officer. This path would be amazing because it would mean that I could bypass the expenses of flight schools and university courses and get paid whilst training, but there is a service fee, which is 3 years or so of serving. This is quite competitive, but I went to one U session, which is an aptitude test, and did quite well. In saying this, flying jets around the world with passengers is my ultimate dream. My school has an Army cadet unit attached, and I have been in the unit for most of my high school life, so I have adequate knowledge of how the Army works. The second pathway is studying at RMIT for an associate degree in aviation. At the end of the course, QantasLink will actually employ some of the graduating students to fly the Q400s, which is a company by the company called de Havilland, Canada -8 Q400 regional, which would mean skipping hour building, flight instructor or charter. I live in Melbourne and they train in Point Cook. Here is the link. So to the viewers who might be interested in this course, I'll put the link up as well so you can check that out. Reading on, Toby says, I feel like this course is right up my alley. And when I went to the open day, I was able to meet current students and I just felt that it could be me in a couple of years. I loved every part of the course. However, as I'm sure you'd understand, the price of the course exceeds $100,000, and I just worry that if I were to become very ill or failed one of the exams, that I would have a huge debt without work or completion of the course. Both pathways have their pros and cons. I finally found your videos directed for Australians, and your story of relocating to the US really took my fancy. I love your videos, and I showed them to my parents to try and convince them that this is all possible. I have done quite a lot of research, however, I'm writing to you for your thought and your opinion on it all, as you are basically in a position that I dream of. Thanks a lot and stay safe, Toby." Well, thank you so much, Toby, for writing in that very, very cool question. I really appreciate you taking your time to write into me, and I'm just absolutely thrilled that you are looking to me as perhaps a mentor to help guide you in your career as an airline pilot. You're in Year 12. I'm hoping that your school hasn't closed down due to coronavirus. I know that a number of schools have closed in Australia. Very, very sad to see. In either case, if your school's closed or it hasn't, just make sure that you do focus, knuckle down and spend as much time as possible studying so that you can get the very, very best result in your HSC, which will help to open up doors in all aspects of life, no matter what you want to do later on. Secondly, you're obviously aware of how the Air Force works, probably more so than myself. My advice there would be, perhaps if you were to look to me and what I decided when I was a bit younger, I decided against the Air Force purely because back when I was younger, I told my father that I didn't want to go or have to go to war and eventually cause damage or, potentially kill people in battle. I had a great uncle who flew Lancaster bombers during World War II for the Royal New Zealand Air Force. He was unfortunately shot down and he died at the age of about 25, so I don't condone war, but then again, that being said, on a defensive strategy to protect the Australian people, I highly commend and I am forever grateful for the servicemen and women who do devote their lives and their time to defend the nations that we live in, both in Australia. I'm obviously over here in the USA working now, and for the United States Air Force servicemen and women as well. Thank you for your service. You do a fantastic job, and I thank you for that. So my advice would be just to really think about what perhaps you want to do in that aspect, if that's going to be something for you, because you may have to go into battle one day and fly overseas and do some of the stuff that you're called upon to do for your country. So just make sure you're well aware of that and what you have to do. I'm sure once you've decided that, then I would look into the next option, which is of course the RMIT. So probably try and make up your mind on the Air Force first. Make sure that is something for you, because then once you've eliminated that, or once you've decided that's going to be for you, then you can proceed going through with the next steps, which is going to obviously their aptitude testing. You've already done one U session. I'm not too sure exactly what that is, but I understand that these aptitude tests with the Air Force are not easy. So the fact that you said you've done well in that, that's fantastic to see. Go through that path, see how far you get, and if you can't go further, then at least you've given that all that you've given, and then you can actually look at other areas. But of course, there may not be a lot of time for you to decide what you're going to do. So the next option you said there was the RMIT course, and which might give you a job at the end of it. You said that some of the graduates get the opportunity to get a job. So, there's always a chance that you may not get a job as well. So you need to be looking at that. But no matter what, you get through that course, you're going to come out of there with that associate degree, that piece of paper that says, you've applied yourself in the field of aviation, and that's going to be valuable for you to then carry through. Let's say you don't get a job with QantasLink and you decide to become an instructor. Well, you do your time as a flying instructor, and then at the end of it, you've got your degree as well. So definitely not a waste of money. You said it's about $100,000. Well, I mean, I've spent about well over $100,000 just to even become a grade 3 flying instructor with a command multi-engine instrument rating and a few hundred hours, So don't think about how much you've spent into it, because you will make that money back eventually. It may not come quickly, but you will make it back. And don't focus too much on how much you're going to make. You need to really focus on the career and the joy you get from flying planes. I never became a pilot for the money side of things. The money comes with the job, of course, but I became a pilot because I have such a outstanding passion for flying aircraft. I've had that ever since I was a little boy. I've said before in my videos, like from the age of 5, I used to be crawling around on my knees with little model airplanes. I mean, I still do. My wife hates it. That's just a joke. But, I still love just flying. Every time I see a plane fly past my house, I'm out the door trying to take a photo of it, it's a deep-seated passion and love that money will never be able to satisfy, and that's just the truth, and I'm sure a lot of pilots feel the same way about it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've come across pilots who pretty much got into the job because of the money, and that's fine as well. No matter what you do to get into this job as a pilot, don't regret whatever it took to get you here. So the other options were an instructor and a charter pilot. I've done both of those, so I've got some actual knowledge I can share with you. And the biggest knowledge is that I don't have any regrets about what I did, how much I spent on my instructor course, how much I spent on my multi-engine instrument rating. Because first of all, those courses that I did, which I got diplomas out of, they weren't cheap. They were in the order of about $30,000 each, okay? So that's about $60,000 for 2 pieces of paper, but knowledge, I've gained knowledge. I became a flying instructor. My first job was with the China Southern West Australian Flying College over in Perth. I left Sydney, I packed up all my stuff, and I moved to Western Australia, the furthest away you can get from Sydney, in fact, you know, pretty much. And I started my journey as a pilot. I was starting to build flying hours, and I met some incredible people and incredible students during my time as an instructor, which I did that for about 8 months. My college closed down, and then I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to hang around for the hope that the college is going to open back up? Or am I going to go and find a charter job? Because I've always been a person that loves customer service, and I absolutely love flying passengers from A to B, giving that sense of satisfaction that I've helped them get to where they need to go so they can do what they need to do, whether that, you know, be an electrical installation or just getting a student back home out to their outback community. Absolutely get a joy from doing that. Passenger, and customer service has been a big priority for me and a big thing that I love doing ever since I've been, working at Toys R Us when I was back in high school, just like yourself. I used to have a job after school at Toys R Us, and I used to sell remote control cars. So I've always loved customer service. I went up and did charter, and I made some amazing friends and have some amazing memories, which I've got so many that I've actually filmed in my time. I haven't really had the chance to put them all together and actually make videos of them, but I'm going to do that, and my channel will show you some of that stuff, so keep an eye out for that. If you haven't subscribed already, Toby, obviously, and you viewers as well, I do recommend subscribing because I'm going to have some great contents coming out shortly, such as these Q&As. Hope you like my little paddle. I just bought this today from the dollar store. Pretty cool, I hope. So yeah, I did charter and I had an amazing time. I got to fly some of the most complex single-engine aircraft, Cessna 210s, Piper Cherokees, Piper Warriors. Well, not so much the Piper Warrior, but Piper Cherokees with retractable undercarriage. And I had so much fun just flying to the outback communities. I did a lot of transport of our Indigenous Australians to and from their communities. A lot of it was transporting students that were coming from their outback community to the main airport in Broome or in Darwin. To then fly off on the commercial, airlines such as Qantas and Virgin to go to some of the major cities where they can go to school. So I had some amazing experiences there. I got to, in charter, experience command decision-making skills, which you kind of don't get as an instructor, because usually with instructing, it's all being crafted and created based on you, the instructor, about what you're going to do to get the most out of that student for the day. So your scenarios are fairly limited as an instructor because they are sort of set out on paper about what you need to achieve today. And usually when the weather's not that great, there might be like one little cloud out there you usually don't go. I might be exaggerating on that, but you want to get the most out of your students. So you're always worried about taking them up in, when it's sort of like an overcast layer. You're worried about, are you going to be able to get back down through a hole somewhere to find VFR weather again? So as a charter pilot, you're out there on your own. You need to make decisions on the fly. You need to make them quick, and it just builds your character. I had such a great time doing charter. I would not take back anything. I had a great time doing it all. So once again, Toby, no matter what you decide to do, just write out the pros and cons, which you have already. You need to have those pros and cons, weigh out all the options. But no matter what you do, go forth with confidence and just enjoy every single step of the process. I hope this video has been of help to you, Toby, and to you viewers. If you viewers out there have a question that you'd like to write in, please do so. I'll be more than happy to make a video. Thanks for tuning into the flight of your life. This is Captain Gab, over and out. See ya.